So apparently, Shibuya is a special ward in Tokyo, Japan, and it houses two of the busiest railway stations in the world. It has an estimated population of 221,801 and a population density of 14,679.09 people per kilometer squared. Hmm, cool. So yeah, you are in Tokyo, but I was wondering the whole time what Shibuya was. It's a ward in Tokyo. Oh, you can buy drinks from here. Nice. Well, let me actually deposit the souls. Transfer 98 spirits in exchange for 49 mecha. Mecha? So you send spirits and you get mecha in the process. Hmm. A hiding spot? Headgear worn when performing lion dances. Nice. Lion dances are one of Japan's most famous traditional arts, performed to ward off evil, invite bountiful harvests, and more. As the name indicates, they involve donning costumes that resemble lions, despite the fact that these kings of the jungle don't natively inhabit Japan. Huh. Lion dances originated in India, the birthplace of Buddhism, where lions are revered. It is believed that Chinese interpretations of the lion dance added mass, which were later brought to Japan along with Buddhism itself. I love these little tidbits of information. I love learning these kind of histories. Yeah, so this game has already made me very interested in the side content, unlike Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2's side content was boring and repetitive. But it says a lot if you don't... Like, you know the thing I don't like about a lot of open world games? Where they force you to indulge in side quests to level up your character so that you can do some arbitrary quests. It's what Assassin's Creed Odyssey did, and Assassin's Creed Origins as well. Because of how forceful the levels were in Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, like for instance, if you had to tackle a mission that was level 10, and you're like level 5, you were going to get destroyed. And it's like, why at that point would you put difficulty levels if difficulties in those kind of games is all dependent upon the kind of level that you're at? And the thing is that it really doesn't make any sense. It's something that takes you out of the experience. Like you fight basic enemy types and you deal with them so easily in an early mission, but then you go to some high level mission and those same enemies that you fought, you just can't beat all of a sudden, even though they're just basic enemy types. So what is the whole point of having enemy types, for instance, if their strength is relegated by an arbitrary level statistic? And the thing I was going to get to is that because of how forceful the levels were, you had to indulge in side missions. You were forced to indulge in side missions to contribute to main story progress. And that's just very poor incentive to indulge in your world. If you have to literally like hold the player's hand, like you have to drag them by their arm to these side missions based on what I've just listed, that right there is a shit open world game. But actually designing well-designed side missions and side content that you're not forcing the player to indulge in, that is a skill all on its own. You know, this is the likes of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Revelations. Like, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Revelations have side missions that have no sort of contribution to the main story quest, aside from additional lore and additional events to do. But they're fun, and so you just want to indulge in them. That right there is a great example of open world games doing side content right. And I hope it's the same case with this, because I'm enjoying these side areas right now, and the side content. I just hope it doesn't get stale after a while, or maybe that's just due to me playing the game for a long period of time. You know, obviously, like when you play a game for a long period of time, you end up feeling a little stale with certain things that are occurring in the world. Like, certain events that you previously liked suddenly become stale because of how long you're playing the game. So that's why you gotta take breaks in between so that the events don't feel so stale, which is something I should probably do with this game so that the side activities and the main missions don't feel so stale. You know, it's a common psychological thing with the brain, and people don't realize that because people are foolish when it comes to understanding psychology. But I'm really intrigued by this game right now. It's really getting me into it. I thought it was going to be very dependent upon levels and the like, but so far it's not dependent upon levels. However, I cannot say much at the moment because this is still the introduction, and maybe when they introduce more mechanics, a lot of those mechanics will be very tedious and downright unnecessary. Oh. So you can do it yourself or let KK do it for you. Bypassing barriers and other obstacles will sometimes require the use of hand seals. To do so, use the right thumbstick or the touchpad to form the different signs as directed, and then press L2 and R2 to complete. Okay. So I wonder if the database has been updated. Let's see. Akito manages to locate Mari's hospital room, but is grievously injured by the man in the Hanya mask. The man spirits Mari away and leaves Akito for dead. On the verge of death, Akito agrees to cooperate with KK, who in turn saves his life. With that, Akito awakens once more in Shibuya. Akito and KK realize that the fog has grown thicker since they entered the hospital. Spirits now roam the streets of Shibuya. Akito makes use of his new powers from KK, discovering how to clear away the fog. He also learns how to make use of some katashiro found at a shrine to send spirits safely out of the city where they can be saved. Keen to find further information about the man in the Hanya mask and the whereabouts of his sister, Akito heads off with KK towards KK's safe house. So this is where the difficulty modifier is coming into play, because you'll notice that I'm not getting any rewards or XP with these missions. But again, because I didn't start on the easiest difficulty for this blind playthrough, this isn't affecting me so much. But now that I think about it, you know, like if you're going to be making XP hard to gain and they want to make getting the creative parts of the game like a chore, this might be a problem, but of course I'm not realizing it. Again, this is the importance of starting games on highest difficulties. It is important to understand what the developers truly value. And if they actually design the early combat encounters specifically so that they don't involve the use of skills and the actual flow of the combat encounters still feel creative without the use of these skills, then I can totally understand why they don't let you gain XP from missions. And this is the first game I've actually seen where they actually disable the ability to gain XP from missions as part of a difficulty modifier. That is very unique for this game to do that. So up is your flashlight. Secret base. Magnetic field measurements. Locations A and B. No change. Location C, upward trend. So I think E is Ed. Yeah, exactly. How old is he? We might find something useful. It's your safe house. You should know this place, dude. Seems like a very odd choice of wording. Or really, it's Ed's safe house, I believe. You know, I think I need to have a better appreciation of moments where characters have these moments of levity that might seem out of character for them at the moment. You know, you don't want to be stuck in the gloom all the time. You know, those comments he was making at the store. Like those funny comments, and then he's being serious here. it's not necessarily a violation of character traits. It is part of the flexibility of human personality. I mean, I should know. You know, I try my best to up myself in times of crisis. It's a very important skill of humans to have that kind of resilience. Ah, the bow. So you can use these without expending energy, I believe. I think that's what they said. His old job. Country's guard dogs. There's no way he's a police officer. I'm sure when he's saying guard dogs, it's meant to imply he's a police officer, but I don't think that is. I don't think that is the case. I think guard dogs could also refer to, hired help or mercenaries. Like, as he said, he's no model citizen. Oh, Sakasu. Is that supposed to be the equivalent to Google? Hmm. They all fought against him? Huh. Wow. Too noob? What kind of a name is that? That's obviously the equivalent to YouTube. So it's clear that they've been scouring the internet, they've been scouring social media, they've been scouring conspiracy sites to possibly find some semblance of spiritual activity, it seems like. Look at that programming. Hey, don't rush me, dude. Let me explore. Are those ley lines? No, that's just the grid they use. But I wonder if is there a Japanese equivalent to ley lines, like spiritual flows of energy that run underneath the earth? I wonder if there's anything like that. Spectre 13. Gotta remember, I can zoom in. Hey, what's this plan for a gun? That looks a lot like the, I was gonna say that looked a bit like the Alberto 1R from Resident Evil 7, but it's not. Or at least it looks a bit like Albert Wesker's pistol. The Samurai Edge. Does Wesker still use the Samurai Edge in Resident Evil 5? I'm unsure about that. But this is really intriguing right now. I'm getting invested in the story. The Sewer Kid. A report written by KK regarding a number of disappearances that took place near a manhole. Acquiring this will grant you additional spirit skill points. So, is this some kind of side activity? Hmm. Yeah, it's some of his old case files. So he's saying case files, so he's saying he's a police officer. I mean, who else manages case files? I mean, it could be someone else, I think. A report came in about people in Shibuya disappearing near a manhole. The whole thing smelled wrong, but Rinko was all too happy to delegate the task to me. I thought it could all just be some stupid prank, but I still went to meet up with the person who got in touch with us. Turns out it was a little kid named Ryota. Perfect. Lucky me, getting to be some kid's golfer on top of being Rinko's errand boy. Anyway, the kid told me about how someone named Sasuke disappeared near a manhole and asked me to go looking for him. At this point, I was thinking Sasuke was the kid's little brother or something. I mean, why wouldn't I? I found the manhole, and near it, a spirit claiming it had been killed by some kind of monster. So KK was already seeing these these spirits. Like the thing that confuses me is whether he was actually human, or maybe he is assuming the job of a police officer, like, or maybe like the spirit realm is meant to mirror some aspects of human life, like as we have a whole city and we have the society and we have jobs, for instance, like maybe there's some kind of similar case file system in the spirit realm, or at least some kind of job equivalent to that of a police officer in real life. Supposedly, they'd been standing right on top of the manhole when it happened. Intrepid guy that I am, I climbed on down. I'd only ever been down into the sewers one other time, back in my days on the force. Yeah, on the force. Okay, so he was a police officer. But why is he seeing spirits now? And it was just as shitty this time as it was back then. So once I got down, I ran into this kid in a yellow raincoat just hanging out there. Didn't they show this kid in the yellow raincoat in some of the trailers for Ghostwire Tokyo? Not the first place I'd think to find a lost kid, but I figured it could be Sasuke, so I called out to him, which turned out to be a real bright idea because it was actually the monster. The thing saw me, blew a whistle, and then a bunch more of them showed up to ruin my day. Thankfully, I took the things down, but next time I'll just go ahead and take care of them before getting noticed instead of running my mouth. Yeah, if only certain heroes in like the Batman animated series didn't do that. It's always so annoying when a lot of these animated shows had it where the main hero just says all these one-liners and just completely gives away his position and loses the element of surprise. So it's nice that they're poking fun at that. Surprise of surprises, in the end, Sasuke actually did show up, and he was a damn dog. My heart just about stopped when I first spotted him. Thanks, kid. I guess I'm a pet detective now, too. For all we know, this guy could be the equivalent to that of a Ghostbuster, but apparently he must have died somehow, and his spiritual form is still tethered to the real world, and he said he needs a body, like he needs an actual body to survive, it seems, and that's why he went inside of Akito's body. Like, his past is definitely steeped in mystery right now. But I have some skill points, so let's slot into them. Oh yeah, cannot be interrupted by enemy attacks. I totally forgot about that. Let's buy this. And then we'll use this as well. Definitely the most important abilities to get right now. Oh, I didn't look at the actual subtitles of this database. There's tutorials, keywords, files, characters. Oh, okay, nice. So let's read this real quick. Akito, full name Akito Izuki, a 22-year-old student who gets into a terrible traffic accident in Shibuya, teetering on the brink of death. He is saved thanks to his union with a mysterious and shadowy being. After losing his life to a man wearing a Hanya mask, Akito merges with a shadowy figure that goes by the name of KK, completely restoring him to life. Together, the two of them pursue Hanya, who has kidnapped Akito's younger sister, Mari. So do you notice how that paragraph is only possible if you actually did that cutscene? So I bet these database entries on the characters update as you go through the story, which is cool. So KK. KK is the spirit of a dead man who possessed Akito's body after the latter had sustained near-fatal injuries in an accident. KK seeks revenge against Hanya. Mari. So, Mari Izuki, Akito Izuki's 17-year-old younger sister and a high school student. A blaze that erupted in their apartment has left her grievously burned and unconscious at Shibuya Central Hospital. Hanya kidnaps her to serve as a catalyst for his ceremony. Okay. Do you notice how, the whole idea of Mari being burned and being left in a vegetative state, at least I assume it's a vegetative state, it's oddly similar to that of Laura from The Evil Within 1, because if you remember, Ruvik and Laura from The Evil Within 1, when they were kids, they were playing inside the barn, but a bunch of jealous farmers who completely were envious to Ruvik's wealth, with his family specifically, they burned down the barn, but they weren't aware there were kids inside of the barn. So this is what led to her being burned, and this is what led Ruvik to assume that she was dead, but she actually wasn't. Laura was actually in a vegetative state at the hospital, and we know that Ruvik's desire to create STEM was for him to escape the real world, to actually live out his life with Laura. And I believe Marcelo Jimenez had mentioned that Ruvik's love for Laura could be bordering on incestuous, meaning like a brother and sister kind of love. That's sexual, basically. That's at least what he described. I doubt it was like that. And we know that Ruvik actually saw Laura as a hallucination. He says this in one of his audio logs, which means he is schizophrenic, but at the same time, he's well aware that she's just a hallucination. So yeah, Laura's death, plus Ruvik's terrible father, it definitely led to him being a serial killer, and therefore his precocious nature allowed him to create a device capable of transferring, like, it uses the collective consciousness of individuals to create the landscape that you see inside the stem. It feels like some elements of Ghostwire Tokyo are borrowing from the Evil Within story, which is interesting. Ed, one of KK's allies and the inventor of the spirit transmission device, which is what we were using in the phone booth. Hanya, a mysterious man wearing a Hanya mask as seen in No plays, believed to be connected to the mass vanishing that is taking place in Shibuya. He grievously wounds Akito before whisking his sister Mari away. Rain Walker. Okay. A type of visitor born from the hearts of those pushed to the point of utter exhaustion by their work. Oh, cool! Cool! So these enemy types, they have psychological meaning behind them, similar to the enemies in the Evil Within 1 and the Evil Within 2. Like, for instance, with the traumas. The traumas from the Evil Within 1 are a representation of Ruvik's thoughts on religion, and like the extreme religion that was forced upon him by his father. The traumas are built off of that. And similarly, the Quell, the boss that you fought in the Evil Within 1 is basically a psychological manifestation of Ruvik's desire to hide from the world. So these enemies have psychological meaning behind them that relates to why they look the way they do and the kind of abilities that they have. That is really cool. I love that. So let me just read this again. A rainwalker, a type of visitor born from the hearts of those pushed to the point of utter exhaustion by their work. They apply an equally exhaustive approach to their work, robbing the living of their life force. Nekomata. In Japanese folklore, cats who live for a long time can sometimes gain spiritual power. Their tails then split into two, and they transform into a type of yokai known as a nekomata. The name itself has a particularly ambiguous etymology. While neko itself means cat in Japanese, which I already knew that, thanks to Unbeatable Wansuke, the mata can be written and interpreted using different kanji, although generally it refers to the dual tails that they sport. Their spiritual power allows them to understand human language and continues to become stronger over time. However, Nekomata aren't entirely benign creatures and in fact have sometimes been known to attack humans. Of course, what a surprise, right? The Meketsuki, a diary written by Fujiwara Sadie? I don't know how to pronounce that. Between the 12th and 13th centuries, describes a Nekomata who appeared one night and devoured 7 or 8 unfortunate souls. Questions abound regarding why these mystical felines have decided to set up shop in Shibuya, though at least one theory suggests they're trying to save up Meika to buy some nether catnip. Okay. Quite the comic relief right there. Animals of Shibuya, unlike you. Okay, I've already read this. Yeah. KK's old investigation notes are hidden around the map. Finding them will grant you spirit skill points, which are used to upgrade your abilities. Why hidden around the map, though? Why aren't they inside of his safe house? How did he lose them? A novel written by acclaimed Japanese author Ryunosuke Akutagawa, first published in 1927. The story is told from the viewpoint of a psychiatric patient who recalls how he stumbled into the world of Kappa after following one he spotted while mountain climbing. Isn't the Kappa a turtle demon, I believe? Is that what it is? His description of the Kappa... Oh, no, wait, the Kappa is a water horse, isn't it? I remember because I watched Berserk 2016. His description of the Kappa world depicts a strange, otherworldly place whose values are purportedly the opposite of those held by human society. Ask a literary scholar, and they'll tell you that on a deeper level, the story is in fact a cutting satire of Japanese society as it existed when the story was written. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't rude or anything. But I guess KK is okay with it.
向こうの世界の食べ物だな。俺たちなら食えるぞ。この世の食べ物とは違う効果があるかもな。
Spectral food. Food from the underworld not only restores your health like everyday food, but also grants you a temporary boost to your abilities. The remaining duration of a food item's effect is shown in the gauge displayed in the bottom left corner of the screen. Okay. Oh, what's this? Meet Erica at Ebisu Station, West Exit at 5 o'clock. List of periodicals. Need all these ASAP. Thanks. Rinko. Inspecting Underworld Gates. Encyclopedia of Japanese Sorcery. Life and Death. A Cultural History. Instant Noodle Almanac 2020. There's no mention of Rinko in the database. I wonder what these say. A rice ball filled with creamy pickled cod roe? Mentaiko is also known as tarako. Its roots date back to the 17th century on the Korean peninsula, and the name is derived from Myeongtae. I think it's Myeongtae, a Korean word for salt-fermented Alaska pollock eggs. Huh, surprising, Alaska. Shoyu senbei, grilled rice crackers flavored with soy sauce. When someone is in Japan mentions senbei, this is the kind they're usually talking about. Typically round, flat, and crunchy, the humble senbei is a snack whose history is thought to span millennia. You know, I think I've read this before in the shop, back in that convenience store. So the entries update, even insignificant entries like this, that's cool. And as such, theories abound as to how it came to exist in its present form. Some posit that the Buddhist monk Kukai brought them back from his travels in China, while others contend that they are a product from a disciple of Senno Rikyu, a prominent figure in the history of Japanese tea ceremony. Okay, and I've read this before about konpeto, but there's an additional paragraph. The treat was originally brought into Japan by the Portuguese in the 16th century. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, like I said, I've eaten this kind of candy before. But it's surprising that the Portuguese were the ones that brought it in the 16th century. It's even said that Oda Nobunaga, one of the most famous warlords from Warring States period, indulged in these sugary sweets. Three-colored dango, 3 brightly colored sweet Japanese dumplings served on a skewer. Though it's unclear as to why pink, white, and green were chosen, one theory suggests that they symbolize the sun, sky, and the earth respectively. Most 3-colored dango tend to have the same colors in the same order. So which one would symbolize the sun then? I don't see how... I mean, green could symbolize the earth, obviously. And, like, the sky... I mean, you have the white clouds. And then the sun... Why would it be pink, though? Like, pink is not on that spectrum of potential colors of the sun, I think. I mean, violet is. But I mean, like, the color of the suns that you see in the universe is all dependent upon... Or rather, not the suns, though. They're called stars, obviously. But the color of those stars is all dependent upon the kind of core that they have. So I wonder why they chose pink for this one. Sakura mochi. A Japanese sweet made of 2 main components, an outer layer of pink mochi wrapped in a pickled cherry blossom tree leaf and an inner layer of red bean paste. A multitude of varieties exist across Japan, each with their own twists on the preparation. For instance, Chomeiji-style sakura mochi is defined by its exposed center of red bean paste wrapped in a layer of thinly stretched mochi. It is primarily eaten in Kanto? You mean to tell me that region, that's an actual real name? I thought the name of the Kanto region in Pokemon was just made up. I didn't realize Kanto was an actual real region in Japan, where its name is derived from a Buddhist temple in Tokyo's Sumida area, where it is believed to have first been sold. Not to be outdone, Japan's western region of Kansai also has its own style of sakura mochi called domyoji. This variety resembles dango dumplings with the center completely enveloped in mochi. The etymology of its name is twofold. First, like Chomeiji, Domyoji is the name of a Buddhist temple in Osaka. Second, it derives from the dried coarse rice it is made with called Domyojiko, which also gets its name from the temple. Okay, nothing for Shiroko. Energy drink, a potential blend of sugar and caffeine that provides a quick boost of energy. Despite drinks like this having a reputation for that boost of energy, such claims are not medically proven. Good. All those lies that they always say about energy drinks. Like, you get a bit of a sugar rush, but it's not like it contributes to any medical significance. Nether dango, a food which bears a striking resemblance to an earthly traditional Japanese snack. Has a pleasing texture and an unearthly flavor. Eating it will cause a reaction which hardens your body, increasing your defense. I wonder if it hardens your body, then your speed will decrease. That's what it's leading me to believe. What's a rice ball? If there's any handheld food that most represents Japan, it's undoubtedly the rice ball, or onigiri. After cooking a batch of sticky white rice, filling is added before rolling it all up into either a ball or a triangle shape and then wrapping it in a dried, crunchy seaweed. Ubiquitous in Japanese convenience stores across the country, you can expect to find a wide array of them for sale on dedicated refrigerated shelving. New flavors are regularly introduced into the market too. Cool. What is dango? Dango are a popular dumpling treat. That looks very appetizing. I mean, I've had dumplings before, but like Indian dumplings rather. But sweetened dumplings definitely makes my mouth water at the thought of it. To make them, rice flour is mixed with warm water and then rolled into a ball, then boiled. Next, they are skewered 3 or 4 to a stick and often served with red bean paste or sauce. See, this is the thing I like about this game so far. You know, they're giving you a lot of this information about things that don't relate greatly to the story, and they're giving you a history. Like, if you're actually interested, and I am interested, I think this is just something that Tango Gameworks does really well with their database entries, or like with not really with Assassin's Creed, because I never really found a lot of the urge to read a lot of the database entries in Assassin's Creed. But it's cool that they're there either way. But I love that they're providing history, even if it's not really necessary, because it's all part of the world that you're in. You know what better way to understand the world that you're in than by providing inconsequential information like this? That just piques your intrigue. I love you so much, Tango Gameworks, for actually putting this in. Processed food made for canines, first sold in Japan in 1960. In 2009, a pet food safety law was enacted as part of an effort to improve pet diets, an endeavor which continues today. I already gave dog food to my dog plenty. I love just reading all these. I never thought reading a database entry in a game could be so enticing. I mean, there are plenty of other, like, doing a Resident Evil game, for instance, and reading all the files is one of the most intriguing things you can do in a Resident Evil game. And sadly, such lore was absent in Resident Evil Village. And for a Resident Evil game that is meant to be continuing the Resident Evil series actually, and it's not some remake of a game, it's a brand new game, and they were juggling so many storylines with the introduction of the BSA being evil, Blue Umbrella, Oswald E. Spencer's connection to the Village, Ethan Winters, and the like. The fact that they could have such little lore for a game that is meant to be handling that many storylines is downright insulting and unforgivable on new Capcom's part. What was that? But Tango Gameworks doesn't have that problem so far. They're really investing a lot of time and effort into ensuring that their lore is actually handled very well and very detailed. And it serves as payoff for your investment into this game. And I love it so far. Another mask. Oh, it's a Daruma! Nice. A round doll said to be modeled after a Buddhist monk that brings good luck when displayed. I only heard of the Daruma because there was a show called Unbeatable Banzuke where one of the challenges was called Daruma 7, where you had to knock over these blocks and making sure that the Daruma was staying up top. It's a shame that Unbeatable Banzuke got cancelled because, of course, one of the main entertainment parts to Unbeatable Banzuke is just the amount of wipeouts that participants would be getting into. But of course, the lack of safety precautions just led to people getting injured, and so they canceled that show, which is so disappointing. But it was so entertaining at the same time, and I love the announcer when he's just constantly, like, talking all the time. Really adds a lot more intrigue to Unbeatable Banzuke. It's so much fun as a reality game show. What the? Oh shit. There must be. Oh! I can't move. Oh, okay, I just had to wait for the invisible barrier to go away. Can you quick turn in this game? Is there a quick turn? There's no quick turn? Are you kidding me? Why would they not have a quick turn? Shinji Mikami, the founder of that mechanic, or rather, like, Ayuma-san was the founder of that mechanic in Resident Evil 3. Why would they not have a quick turn mechanic? That's dumb. If there's one thing that should always be fundamental to games, it's a quick turn mechanic. You shouldn't have to change your camera sensitivity to do a very quick turn. Just give us the ability to quick turn. Oh shit. Oh shit! We're transferring into the other world. This is really cool. So they're basically doing the same thing that they did in the Evil Within 1, basically, and Evil Within 2. Only this is more of like a mystical source. There's arrows there. Press down to equip the bow. Got it. A new entry has been added. Okay, so using the bow and arrow. Switch between bow / ethereal weaving. Okay. You can also hold R1 to bring up the attack wheel and equip the bow that way. So L2 is to aim the bow, R2 is to hold and release. Using the bow allows you to quietly defeat visitors from afar without being spotted. Headshots are especially effective. Arrows are affected by gravity, so be sure to aim a little high depending on the distance. Okay. Okay, so you have to swap between ethereal weaving and the bow using down on the D-pad. Let's see if there's anything in here before you leave. Yeah, I knew it. Japanese calendar encyclopedia. Oban. Dates vary, but generally a few days around August 15th. A festival for honoring the spirits of departed ancestors. Oban traces its roots to a legend that is possible to save those spirits that have found their way to hell. It is theorized that the Bon dance, a dance associated with Oban, started as a way to express joy at having saved the dead from a horrible afterlife. Can I just say that I'm glad that the database entry is getting updated each time I pick up something? Like, most games don't have that where the things you read actually get logged into your database. Okay, so I gotta wait until he finishes talking before it lets you move. Can I just say the load times are really great? I'm glad we don't have to sit through any long loading because of the PS5's SSD. Nice. Oh wow, nice platforming. Wow, this is some very interesting platforming right now. I don't know why I'm saying platforming. It's not like I'm doing parkour or anything. I can't miss any collectibles here.
なんだ近いぞ周囲をよく探せこいつが本体だぶっ壊せ
I smashed it. Okay, there we go.
間に合ったやれやれだなこれを仕掛けた奴がいるはずだ外を調べるぞ
So now that the area is stabilized, that's practically the equivalent to the stable field emitter, because obviously with the stable field emitter from the Evil Within 2, when you're inside of the city hall area, Stefano had a lot of control over what the environment looked like based on his artiste personality. And when you activated the stable field emitter, it stabilized that area of STEM environment, which is why his control was lost, and so City Hall returned to normal. And of course, as Liam said, it's not nearly as powerful or as effective as a core, so they only use them in emergency situations. But the environmental effect generated by that, just destroying those barrier cores and stabilizing the area, was very similar to that. So it's nice that if you played the Evil Within 1 and the Evil Within 2, you pretty much got a bit of background as to what kind of mechanics you're expecting for Ghostwire Tokyo, and how, you know, like, the Evil Within 1 and 2, one thing they did that was very original was providing a scientific basis for the psychological horror and the psychological elements. They didn't rely on the supernatural, which is just so lame and the like. They relied upon science. They relied upon STEM. And, like, STEM is such an original concept. I've never heard of a game that utilizes a technological aspect that actually governs the supposed supernatural activity you're seeing within STEM when it's not supernatural. It's all driven by the minds of the collective consciousness. I'm not even saying it's unoriginal that they're using the supernatural elements with this game. Like, I feel like this supernatural aspect that they're using is a lot more intriguing with it being steeped in Japanese folklore, and with inheriting some mechanics from the Evil Within series, and it's definitely something I'm liking about this game so far with its supernatural aspects compared to every other supernatural game out there, like Silent Hill. I hate Silent Hill to death. Silent Hill was so unoriginal. It had very shit music, shit characters, shit combat scenarios, shit survival horror designs. Like, that game is just such a mess, and like it wasn't going anywhere with its story. And as the games just progressed further and further and further, they just got worse and worse and worse. And I'm so glad that series is gone. But this new IP is absolutely astounding at the moment. And I have to say, compared to the intro for Dying Light 2, this is a great introduction. I am enjoying this game right now, and it could partially be due to the fact that this is designed by Tango Gameworks, so my expectations are already immediately set to high, and I'm not being very, like, critical. But I don't think it's because of that. I think it's just because Tango Gameworks knows how to deliver a very intriguing game with their games. This is the third game ever, and they're doing a new IP, and already I'm just very impressed by it. I mean, I doubt Server 17 will be impressed by it because, you know, he's completely changed his expectations of the game to fall in line with that of a completely unrealistic expectation. And, you know, he's probably been busy playing so many old games that he doesn't have a taste for new games anymore. So he'll probably hate this game, knowing him. But I think this game will definitely get a walkthrough. I'm glad I'm doing a blind playthrough of it, because this game is proving to be very fun right now. So square is to activate Spectral Vision. Oh, you can cancel charge attacks with R3. That's handy. Spectral Food. In ancient Japan, there was a belief that those who ate food prepared using the same fire were bound to the collective that provided the sustenance. The idea about food being a symbol of deep bonds between individuals persists within the Japanese language today. One such expression that can euphemistically refer to people with close ties to one another, for instance, can be translated as eating rice from the same kettle. By extension, those who eat food from the land of the dead become themselves tied to the underworld and cannot return to the realm of the living. Even the gods aren't above this edict, as evidenced by Izanami, a goddess of creation. In Japanese mythology, she dies and then becomes trapped in the underworld after eating some of its food. Oh my god, I just realized Spirited Away did this exact concept because the main character's parents ate food from the spirit world, and so they became tied to that world, and they were pigs. Wow, I didn't realize how much Spirited Away tied so much to the points that are being discussed in these database entries here. Should normal living people consume such otherworldly victuals, they die. Fortuitously, since Akito already has one foot in the grave, eating it seems to have no such death-inducing effect on him. Okay, so they die. Okay, that was not what happened to the main character's parents. They got turned into pigs. Inarizushi. Pockets of fried tofu stuffed with vinegarized sushi rice. Inarizushi was first invented in the Edo period, 1603 to 1860. Nice that they provide clarification on when the Edo period is. You know, I heard all these things about the Edo period in Tomb Raider, for instance, and they never specified the years. Like, I'm so glad that Tango Gameworks is so heavily invested in their own lore, in their own mythology, like, because they are a Japanese developer. And so they want to acknowledge these points. Like, that shows pride in your culture, and I love that. And is beloved as a cheap and simple snack that some call the original Japanese fast food. There are multiple theories on the etymology of the name. One suggests that it pertains to Uka no Mitama, the patron goddess of Inari shrines, whose fox envoys are said to be quite fond of them. Cool. So we have tailing mechanics here, similar to Infamous, for instance, where you basically use the residual energy pulse to track the silhouette of an individual who either was a victim or was a criminal in Infamous, and then you had to either find them or eliminate them. Yeah, let's burn that Mutamycete to a crisp. Find a way to purge the corruption. Cool! Oh, cool! I love how they're just introducing a side activity in the middle of this kind of activity. Nice. So we previously learned about spirits when they were being trapped by those visitors, but now they're here in the middle of the main story, which is cool. So it seems certain side activities can appear in the middle of other side activities. At least I'm assuming that the spectral vision is going to be a part of some kind of side activity you can do. Corruption and spirits. Spirits can sometimes be caught up in unchecked corruption. You can use your spectral vision to uncover the source of the corruption. Once you've destroyed this source and freed the spirits, you can absorb them. How did he not leave a trail? It's a spirit. How do you not leak spectral energy like that? He stole it? All property is theft. Read thoughts. I love the sound that plays when you initiate spectral vision. Like, listen to it again. Sounds like dripping water. Oh, what's this? A shrine litter notice. If you are caught littering or dumping trash around our sacred shrine, you will be charged a full consecration fee for the preparation of your own gravesite. Nice. So we can actually explore a little bit more. Oh, more spirits. Yeah, This game is getting really fun right now. I'm enjoying it. I wonder if there's any kind of parkour, because I know in some of the gameplay that they showed, you had the ability to latch on to Tengu using some kind of grapple mechanic. I thought that shit was getting full. Wow, there's spirits everywhere! Guess it makes sense with a population of such a high density. Looks like the enemies are at a lull right now. And what is that? Oh. Your maximum wind ether capacity is increased. Oh, cool. So you have to pray to statues. Praying to Jesus statues will permanently raise your maximum SP, the energy required to perform ethereal weaving. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Who wouldn't want to seek spiritual help in a spiritual crisis right now? The light bulb means something on my map. Aw, look at him just laying on his back. That's pretty hot. Oh, nice, you can buy ammunition. So I can only buy stuff, I can't sell stuff, it seems like. That guy's just relaxing, he's just chilling. Oh, the Tengu! Hold L2 and then press X to grapple. Grappling and gliding. You can move through the air by making use of your grapple and glide abilities. So the grapple. Extend a wire onto a Tengu and use it to rapidly pull you into the air. Hold L2, aim at a Tengu, and then press X to grapple. So the glide. While high up in midair, hold X to glide for a short time. You'll fall if you release X. Let's try it. Okay, so let me just demonstrate that mechanic again. So watch. You're not like moving down as you're holding X. You're just sort of levitating for a bit, but you can't move. So you have to hold X at the right moment. There is a timing involved, it seems. It's like, watch. See, I can't go down. It's limited. So you gotta make sure that you hold X just before you hit the ground. You don't want to hit it immediately. You will not be able to descend while you're holding X. So be careful of that. But let's deposit these souls. Oh, it's Ed! Wow. I love those dynamic events that play, or like, just, you repeat a certain action in a side mission and then you get new dialogue. Yet another reason to get invested even more. What other recordings has Ed left for us, the more spirits we deposit into those phone booths? Odd. I can't grapple. Probably have to get closer. Yeah, okay, so... Yeah. It's not unlimited range, you have to get within a certain distance of them to actually have the ability to grapple. Mantling was a little odd just then. Oh shit! They're attacking me! It's a ghost! A wanderer, a type of visitor born from the desire to run away. Inside it lies only a void. It floats in the air and attacks from above. Ah, more of these Katashiro. Exploring further with side missions. In addition to progressing through the main story, there are a number of side missions available throughout the city. These missions involve various activities, including supernatural investigations involving yokai and helping lost spirits. They are not linked to main mission progress. Hopefully they're not linked in the sense that you have to do them in order to actually be the right level for a main mission. Starting locations for side missions can be reviewed on the map menu. Okay. Cool. Entry 3. Kanazuki, around October, the 10th month in the traditional Japanese lunar calendar. The middle character of the kanji for Kanazuki was initially used just for its sound instead of its meaning. There should be nothing to write home about, except that while the pronunciation should mean month of the gods, the kanji themselves read the month without gods. Further complicating this is the fact that it is the month the Shinto gods are set to convene at the Izumo Taisha shrine. So it can be both interpreted either as the gods coming together for this month, or as the gods leaving their usual homes, thus making it a month when they are absent. Oh, the spirit's over there. Oh, someone's seeing me. Huh. Did that ether come to me when I was holding L2, or did they just do that by themselves? That would be really cool if you had access to some kind of jump assassination. Oh shit. They heard me. Whoa! I keep forgetting about that. Oh shit, that's new. Damn, there's a lot of them. Oh! I need to see how effective the strike is. There we go. What was that? A paper doll. A type of visitor born from a life spent maintaining a vapid facade. Empty smiles ever at the ready. They spread the very same negative energy they have been forced to bear. That's quite sad. Red ether crystals. As you explore Shibuya, you may occasionally come across shining red ether crystals. They will explode when shattered and can be used to your advantage to damage visitors with their blast radius. Red ether crystals will also release red ether when destroyed, restoring SP for fire weaving. Okay.